This is Ready Set Reiki, a podcast about Reiki and all energy work, from the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, and all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready Set Reiki journey, I refer to myself as a guide. So I'm Tracy C. Wright, and this is Ready Set Reiki. Hello, beautiful friends. Tracy C. Wright here. And how lucky am I today that I get the privilege of having a co-guide, and she is fantastic, amazing. I have been watching her and she is just soaring. I mean, she is taking Wisconsin by storm. So let me introduce to you Kathy. Kathy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. It's great to connect with you. My name is Kathy Milanowski, like Tracy said, and I'm in Wisconsin, Deerfield, Wisconsin. And I teach Reiki and other modalities. And I'm in a little place called Deerfield. And in the carriage house is the wellness center. So, yeah. Thank you, Tracy.
Beautiful. So let's begin our journey today. Why are we here? Well, a fantastic gentleman has reached out to me, Bob Ross, not the painter, but someone I think even better after reading this amazing, just a wonderful, amazing life that he's had. So let's break this down. So I'm only going to tell you a little bit about him, but please go to his webpage, check it out. I mean, it's one amazing thing after another. So first off, he has a bachelor's degree in physics. And might I add you, and it's the elementary teacher in me that has to praise 4.0 in that major. Kudos to that. Now, he was the first person to ever graduate with distinctions in physics with a dissertation in nuclear physics. Fantastic. He invented a technique that takes away headaches in about 30 seconds based just on eye movement. Now, he was awarded the Presidential Volunteer Service Award from the President of the United States. Pasadena Fire Department, EMS Reserves. He was volunteered 37 years and still is on active duty. He is also the training officer, motion picture, television set medic, Amazing Race, America Ninja War, Star Wars, SEAL Team, SWAT, and many more. He received a United States Congressional Award for bringing a man back from the dead at the Rose Bowl. Professional trumpet player, might I add, singer, stand-up comic, and voice-over artist. And on top of this, he is a very gifted healer. So let's welcome Bob Ross. Bob, welcome to Ready, Set, Reiki.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be with you guys.
Wonderful. So let's begin this journey together. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So obviously I'm not bored. I have a very blessed life and a blessed name. You know, Bob Ross. Little of my parents know they're going to give me a famous name and a good one.
Right.
Yes. So, and I was this way as a kid. I was involved in all sorts of things. My mom was a professional musician. Played multiple instruments. I grew up playing piano, guitar, and trumpet. She had perfect pitch. So I've been living and playing the piano. She made the kitchen. Bob, that should have been a C sharp. You know? And with my career in medicine, it's kind of ironic because my dad was actually a mortician.
Wow.
His dad was a mortician.
Uh-oh.
It was a family business. I was supposed to be a mortician.
Sure.
Yes. So, and a little bit later, I'll kind of tell you about my path in medicine that has brought me to where we are today.
Beautiful. So our next question, when did energy medicine come into your life? Did you find it or did it find you?
I would say it found me. Mm. Yeah. As you're going to find out, I went to a PhD program in medical physics at a famous medical school, and there energy medicine is not part of the curriculum.
Right.
And I didn't know about energy medicine at that point, but something just did resonate. Something's not right. Something just doesn't make sense. You know, you're treating just the symptoms, you're treating the biology, but what about the whole person? Right. So and unfortunately I had some bad things happen that actually pushed me to really open my eyes to energy medicine. And I found out that I was actually gifted.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have some cool stories for you guys.
Wonderful. So you found out that you're gifted. You are, again, highly educated, that 4.0. As you're out navigating, as you're out working with clients, meeting people, what is some of the misconceptions you're finding about energy medicine?
So, from a physics standpoint, Western medicine is based on Newtonian physics. So, chemicals, right? You got chemicals, something physical. And that's the whole thing. That's why you got to treat it with chemicals and so forth. But in quantum physics, uh, it's about energy. Even Einstein's energy equals mass times speed of
Right.
light squared, EMC squared, right? Everything is energy. And that's actually how homeopathic works. It's the energy of the molecule. And you probably heard about Dr. Royal Rife.
Yes.
Yes. And his whole thing was frequencies, which is, of course, energy. And he found that everything has its own resonant frequency. So, and he discovered, like, if a kidney was ill, it would have a lower resonant frequency than it's supposed to. So he would expose it to its resonant frequency, and the resonant frequency would come up, and the kidney would go back to normal. Pretty amazing. And of course, that ruffled a lot of feathers in the traditional medical system, and they destroyed him, and it was just a terrible thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what has been the biggest struggle or challenge that you have faced in your healing journey? As in being in healing medicine, you're being of service to so many, helping them on their journey. But what is something that you have struggled with?
Um, my biggest struggle has actually been with people that don't have an open mind.
Mm.
And again, I used to be in a box,
Yeah.
and I went through a process, and so I understand. I don't criticize them for that, but sometimes getting through that barrier can be really tough.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
How was your family about that, since you came from a family business of being mortician? It would just seem natural that when you are in that type of business, it's to pass it on, especially you being a son, right? To pass it on
Yeah.
to you. So, how was your family about that when you chose, this isn't for me?
Well, that's the amazing thing. My parents, unbelievable. In fact, our house was a
Oh,
house of love.
oh.
So wonderful Christian family. They lived the life. Um, Kids would flock to our house. No, Johnny, I want to go to your house. No, I want to go to your house, because they could feel it. And to me, it was normal. That's what
Right,
and,
right.
and obviously my dad, my grandfather wanted me to continue in the business. But they said, son, we understand if this isn't something you want to do, because we know you're gifted in these other areas, and we'll support you with whatever you do.
Beautiful. I mean, how
Unbelievable.
wonderful.
I know.
What a blessing. My goodness. So, what do you wish your younger self knew about energy medicine?
Mm, wow. I wish I'd known about energy medicine when I was younger. That would have helped so much in my life. So much in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, when it is time for you to get an energetic tune up, what are some qualities that you look for in someone who is a practitioner of energy medicine?
Mm. The biggest thing, in fact, I had a treatment just the other day with Pasadena Fire. I was worked on the Eaton fire, and a lot of tension. I just holding tension, because of it was just crazy making. Um, so the key is their sensitivity to the energy.
Mm.
And I studied with Dr. Ewan, who was a chiropractor, but he noticed that he could actually kind of sense where people's problem was.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't have to do x-rays. Someone said, oh, my shoulder, my shoulder, my shoulder. And he would know, it's your left hip. No, it's my shoulder. So he treat the left hip. What are you doing, doc? And
Yeah.
the shoulder problem would go away,
Wow.
right? So in fact, sometimes pain is not the real problem. It's just the result of another problem, right? That's why
Yes.
energy medicine is so powerful, especially like with intuition. If
Right.
you get a sense that it's someplace else, you can treat that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So someone is listening to this podcast right now. They feel they're gifted. They look at all the wonderful things that you have done in your life and how you've gotten to this point. What is some advice that you would give to someone who chooses to go into energy medicine?
Mm. Well, if you love to see people improve in all aspects of their life, that's the right path to take.
Beautiful.
So I have had results that are considered impossible.
Wow.
Here's a good example. I worked with a gentleman who'd been back from Afghanistan and in the VA for a year because he couldn't be out on his own, right? Therapy for a year. And his dad met me and asked if he could bring him, and he did. And in one session, we had more progress than a whole year of in-house therapy at the VA.
Wow. It's incredible, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
Beautiful. So I can't wait for this one. I've got my notepad. I got a pencil ready. I am ready. What books do you recommend? I can't wait.
Yes.
What does Bob Ross's library look like?
So the reason I'm in my car is that with the floods in LA, it knocked out my internet. So I'm in my car. I found a hot spot that I could be close enough to to pick it up. Otherwise, if I was in my place, I would show you my bookshelf,
Of course.
which is quite massive. And all my books are on how the body heals, how to help the body heal, how to tap into intuition. Books like Dr. Joe Dispenza,
Okay.
you know, great stuff. And he himself is a phenomenal example. He was run over by a car, broke his spine. I think they were going to put actually a metal rod because it's just all destroyed. It wasn't just broken; it was like crushed. And he had no, that's not the thing to do. And he healed himself with no medical treatments.
Beautiful.
Yeah. By the way, and I'm going to take this moment right now because I need to make this disclaimer.
I was waiting.
So this conversation is not to be construed as medical advice. Always consult a healthcare professional prior to starting or changing any treatment program.
Right. And I think Kathy can agree too. That's what we do in Reiki, right? You sign a
Yep.
waiver, we consent, we never go against what the doctor says. We'll never, practitioner should never tell you to stop your medication, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Very good. So what services do you offer? Do you offer classes, trainings, events?
So I currently have a healing practice, and the website is The Hidden Secret to Emotional Healing.
Mhm.
So post-traumatic stress disorder, phobias, addictions, and again with just some mind-boggling results. It's so fulfilling. And then, as we'll talk about a little bit later, I started a coaching program for cancer patients because that was actually my formal training.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So where can we find you? Like, we're listening and saying, I got to get in touch with him. How can they connect with you?
So the very best is The Hidden Secret to Healing. So the other is The Hidden Secret to Emotional Healing. This is The Hidden Secret to Healing, because on there I have a 45-minute masterclass that's free. Tells you how to keep your body hostile to cancer cells, what to do if you have it, about my new brain technique that I've invented. And it's very powerful and it's free. So
Very good.
yeah.
Do you have anything online? Or you just do in person?
So like with the therapy sessions, we have the option of like doing Zoom or we can do in person. But that's nice because, if you wanted a session, it'd be quite a bit of time to drive to Texas.
Right. Well, for Pasadena, maybe. Are you on any social media where people can look to see anything that you have?
I have shied away from that mainly after the pandemic.
Sure.
Because there's so much suppression of information and so like even on my website, you need to opt in to see the webinar. That way outside people can't just, crash the thing. And yeah, it's sad that that's the case, but
Right, right. And you've also published in journals, and you've also written some books, correct? And these are
yes,
medical journals. You're in medical journals.
yes. So published in medical journals. I have written 3 books, medical breakthroughs in weight loss, professional for, anyway, that's an older one, but it's still appropriate. I wrote, this is my favorite, Secrets to Calling 911, how to get
Oh,
the fastest response from paramedics, fire department, and police.
right, 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 right.
So,
Wow.
and here's the key. Every single 911 call is answered by the police.
Mm.
People think it's the fire department. So their house is on fire. They call 911 and they're telling the police dispatcher that their house is on fire. That's the wrong person. They can't help you.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but the police dispatchers want to help you. And so they're going to ask you the information. And then they'll
Mhm.
call us in the fire department and we'll ask, well, are they trapped? I don't know. I didn't ask. Well, where in the house are they? I don't know. I didn't ask. Right. Same with the medical problem. Are they breathing? I don't know. I didn't ask. So to solve that whole problem, when you hear 911, what's your emergency? Don't tell them unless you need the police. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Hey, I have a medical emergency. Please transfer me to the fire department.
Oh, okay.
Right. And don't give up to
Okay.
your paramedics.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is that like that everywhere or just in
Everywhere.
California? Okay. Okay.
And they
Okay.
set it up that way because 9 out of 10 911 calls are needing the police. So it kind of made sense that they set it up
Okay.
that way. Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Wow.
See,
But
this
that
is
could
how
save
this is
your
how
life.
these are. Yeah, this is how this is a teacher. I learned something every podcast. I love it. I love it.
Nice.
Well, thank you, Bob. This ends the first part of our journey, and I'm gonna just send you right over to my wonderful co-guide who has some questions for you as well. So thank you so much.
Hi,
Yes.
Bob.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi, I am so excited. I want you to share the eye movement technique, if you could. As a fellow person that I have worked with Reiki and other different lineages, different
Beautiful.
things to help me with my migraines, but I used to be a migraine person, hospital once a week, all those kind of things. And so they can really mess with your life, So I would love to know about this technique. And if you could show it to us.
Beautiful. Yes. So I actually come from a long line of inventors. My grandfather's a famous research chemist, and like 150 patents in my family line.
Okay.
So I'll get these ideas, right,
Mhm.
which is exactly the same as intuition, by the way. They come out of nowhere, right? And the key is you have to follow through. So I got this idea and I went, huh. And so I just started looking into it and researching it. So what a headache is when the arteries get too big.
Right.
And there are muscles around the artery that allows it to contract and expand because it needs to be doing that. Right.
Correct. Yep.
And muscles work on electricity.
Right.
So when you move your eyes, it actually creates an electrical signal.
Okay.
And I found that the best way to move the eye was up here, upper right to lower left. Okay.
So, to the right.
Right. So as you're doing that and you focus on the pain, your brain knows what artery is too big and is literally sending that electrical signal you're generating to the muscle to make it contract and reset the artery. So in other words, it actually solved the problem, the cause of the headache, as opposed to just taking aspirin that covers up the pain. And then hopefully then it normally resets.
And how long do you do this action right to left? Like
usually only 30 seconds.
30 seconds. And how fast the pace of it?
So the pace is about like this.
Okay.
And the key is your eyes have to follow the hand, right?
Okay. So follow the hand.
Yes. And like a lot of things, this works the best if somebody is doing it on you as opposed to you doing it yourself. Okay. You can tickle yourself. It's the same nerves, but it's not the same as if somebody else is tickling.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So if the person is visual, that's all you'll need. If they're auditory, then random tapping. Okay.
Okay.
If they're kinesthetic, like I'm kinesthetic, random tapping on the shoulder. So you can do all three. So one hand is doing this while you randomly snap, randomly tap with no rhyme or rhythm, right?
All right.
And as a result of that, then usually in 30 seconds, it's gone.
So you're covering like all the different areas, people, how they
Yes.
stuff. Okay.
Right.
Wonderful.
So, and I always get a number when we start on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being worst pain, and then what it is after. Now, sometimes it'll go from an 8 to a 4, which usually means that there are 2 arteries that are too big.
Okay.
So we just do it again and think about that pain. Is it any different? Is it the same? Does it throb? Does it have a color? Does it have a shape?
Right.
You know, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Wow.
exciting.
That is very exciting. Wow. That, for somebody that went to the hospital once a week, like 8 years ago, and they would just try, first was all this stuff for medicine, then it was just oxygen, and then all these different things. Not just the well-being and the emotional part of going into the hospital, but the money aspect and all this other stuff, Bob, is absolutely, you're saying 30 seconds, tap, tap, tap. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll be teaching my children.
I'm going to plug in my phone here real quick.
Sure. No problem. That's just absolutely awesome. I love that. And I'm sure the viewers are going to love that, to have somebody yep.
So
let me know. Yeah.
If I can tell you a quick story.
Please do.
So, especially those in energy medicine, the intuition is so key, and it's that still small voice.
Yep.
It's very subtle. One of the techniques I've been trained in is EFT, also known as tapping.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually learned it from Gary Craig himself, the guy who developed it.
Yep.
In person, traveled with him. I mean, just incredible stuff. So a woman sent me an email after I put out my 30-second headache relief technique and asked, does it work for migraines? And I replied back, yes, but you have to do it as soon as you feel them coming on, because once the migraine sets in, it's like a claw, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not as effective. Although tapping is actually pretty effective, even if migraines set in. And I asked her, so why do you have migraines? They don't know. Really? Right? Really?
Exactly.
So I just emailed her. She was up in Seattle. Just emailed her the spot that we were going to tap on. And so we're just working on what's present. The light sensitivity, right? The pain, the nausea, all that. And I don't know, about 6 or 7, maybe 8 minutes in at the most, I hear 14. 14. Mary, what happened when you were 14? And she started to bawl. I said, Mary, I'm so sorry I made you upset. What's going on? Well, my mom got remarried when I was 14, and my stepdad started sexually abusing me. Oh, Mary, I'm so sorry. Out of curiosity, Mary, when did your migraine start? When I was 14. And how did they play into the abuse? That's what you wait for, that aha moment. She said, the only time he wouldn't abuse me is when I had a migraine. Mary, that's how powerful you are. You were giving yourself migraines to protect yourself.
Yeah.
In fact, is he even still alive? No, he's gone, but you still get migraines? Yeah. I bet you get migraines when you don't feel safe.
Yeah.
So obviously the migraines weren't the thing. So we stopped tapping on the migraine, although that helped right there. And we worked on the abuse, right? Resolved that trauma, and migraines never came back.
That's wonderful.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
It's a talent, Bob. I'm telling you, it's a gift. And, it's a beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for that story. I know we talked about your books and your medical journey, and you're a bestseller author. What's your last book? I didn't catch that. Or maybe what was your last book that you rewrote?
So the last one was the Secrets of Calling 911.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That was all because of my fire department experience. And,
right.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And I love the lesson they gave us too. I'll never forget that. I had no idea about
No,
that.
and people, and the thing is, from a cell phone,
Yeah.
you have to say, please transfer me, and then name the city you're in, fire department.
Oh,
Now it's
there
gotten
we go.
better, right? It's gotten better, but
Hmm.
um, sometimes they don't know where you are.
Right.
Right. So please transfer me to the Pasadena Fire Department. Please transfer me to the LA City Fire Department.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome information. That
Well,
could that could save people's lives. Just those
amen to
steps,
that.
right? And that's what we're
Yep.
all here for, is to help give out that
Yep.
service, the
Yep.
love.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. And I kind of heard you talk a little bit about that master class. Could you talk a little more about that master class? I think we're all interested.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, my undergraduate's in physics, and but I've always loved medicine, and I found out about a field of medical physics,
Okay.
which is basically the applications of physics in medicine.
Okay.
So we invented the MRI scanner. That's magnets, right?
Right.
But the most majority is in cancer therapy. So diagnostic or actually treatment.
Right.
And when I was there, and I can't name the medical school, and you'll understand why. When I was there, I helped make one of the biggest breakthroughs ever in cancer therapy.
That's
It's
wonderful.
called the hyperthermia effect. So we discovered if you increase the temperature of cancer cells, it made them weaker. And if you did that before a treatment, less chemo and less radiation. Sound
That
good,
is,
huh?
yeah, that
Isn't that
sounds
amazing?
wonderful. Mm-hmm.
And you can just heat up the body. Nowadays, infrared is great because it goes deeper, right?
Right.
But a lot of ways to heat up the body, even chemically if they need to. And it was suppressed. And my understanding was that because it cut into profits. It's the business of medicine. It's not healthcare. What?
Yep.
But I got into medicine to help people. So I spent 11 years in school. I finished my internship and I walked away from the field.
Yeah.
Because again, I got into medicine to help people. That's why I went into emergency medicine with Pasadena Fire, because we're the best in the world for emergency medicine.
Right.
Right. For healing from an illness, we're like 28th in the world.
Right.
Crazy making. So that's why I'm excited about some of the stuff that's happening right now, because we have an opportunity to change that. So
Yeah.
I decided that I was going to start a coaching program for cancer patients, because even when I was there in medical journals, there were things in nature that cut off blood flows to tumor. And I went to my professors, hey, this is great. When are you going to start using it? Well, never. But it's from nature. There are no side effects. Well, that's why we're not going to use it. We can't patent it. We can't make any money off of it.
Yep. I knew that.
Just, I mean, so frustrating. But that truth is out there, right? So, so in the master class, you'll learn, how to make your body hostile to cancer cells. As an example, one of the things cancer cells have to have is refined processed sugar. If you eat an orange as it is, that actually helps your body heal from cancer. But if it's refined processed sugar, it's a fuel for cancer.
Okay.
So, and it's a high metabolism, high demand for cancer, for sugar. And yet, if you go to the hospital for treatment for cancer, guess what they feed you?
Sugar water. Oh, okay.
Coca-Cola. Sugar-loaded Jello. I mean, like, hello, right? So just those basic things that they'll find in the master class can help. And one of the things that I discovered when I was treating cancer patients is most of them, as I got to know them, had unresolved emotional trauma.
Yeah.
And we all know we feel nervous about something. It changes our body, and that actually suppresses our immune system. So that would make sense if their immune system was weakened because of this unresolved emotional trauma, especially unforgiveness and bitterness. Those are the worst, right? Could lead to that.
Yep.
And I have a gift in healing post-traumatic stress disorder and all that kind of stuff. So, well, wait a minute. This should be part of the coaching program, because not just a physical thing, what you can do, but but helping the body heal. And I was always fascinated with the placebo effect.
Yeah.
So a person gets a sugar pill, but they're told it's the real drug. And a percentage of them get healed from their disease, but they weren't given anything.
Right.
And if they're told about side effects, they'll have the side effects, but they weren't given anything. Now, to me, when I was at this medical school, they were so frustrated with the placebo effect. Oh, it's always interfering with, and my response was, well, wait a minute. In fact, this is my first intro to energy medicine. Well, wait a minute. That means the brain has the ability to do this. So why don't we activate that on purpose? Bob, you're not understanding. You can't patent that. That crazy making. So if that's the case, and only about 35% of people will get the placebo effect. And it turns out those that do are the ones that believed it was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
They had the faith.
Yeah.
Now, I remember growing up, like I said, in a wonderful, loving Christian home. And one of the things I could not understand is why Scripture says that we need faith for our healing. Excuse me? Why does God need my faith? Is God saying, oh, if only Bobby Boy would believe I could pull this off? That never made sense.
Yeah.
And no one could answer that. It's like one of the mysteries. And all of a sudden, dude, I got it. Faith is what activates the placebo effect, which means God has already put into us this miraculous healing ability, and it's already in our system, like water in a pipe. And faith is what turns on the spigot and lets it flow. So I originally invented this hidden secret brain technique to help eliminate beliefs, because I was self-sabotaging myself, and that's how this kind of developed. Like, how could this be? I want this to happen. I want that to happen. And then I realized, well, wait a minute, that same process can be modified to help people release that placebo effect. Yeah. So that's part of the coaching program as well.
That's wonderful. And remind me, how do they sign up for your coaching program? And does it happen? Can I just go onto your website or somewhere to sign up for it? Or do you have certain days and times or monthly things for a group, or is it individual? How's that work?
How dare you ask a good question?
I'm interested in Bob.
Yes. So the key is if they go to the hiddensecrettohealing.com and they watch that webinar, that's going to give them the foundation.
Okay.
And then by watching the foundation, they actually get a discount.
Oh,
so
isn't that
at the
one?
end of the webinar, there'll be an opportunity if they want, to work with me, they'll have that opportunity, and then they get a pretty huge discount.
Wonderful. Now, do you do group, or is it individual? How's that work when they do sign up?
So there's a course portion. So they learn my brain technique. They learn some of these. There's a resource section, great natural paths, and doctors that will actually help from the physical side, right? And then my goal is to have like live healing sessions, maybe once or twice a week.
Okay.
And so everybody gets the process, and maybe pull somebody out who's willing to kind of be the guinea pig.
Right.
And then there's also the option if we need some one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That sounds packed. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, is it just for cancer patients, or is it for anybody that has post-traumatic stress or anything like that?
Yes. So first off, the brain technique, hidden secret brain technique, will help release the placebo effect for any illness. Right. I was just specializing on cancer because it's so frightening, and I had my own experience years ago with the diagnosis, and so that's kind of why I did it. But it applies to everything, which is awesome. You can even use it to find things that you've lost, like missing keys and things, because your brain knows where you left it. It's just getting access to that, right? Yeah,
exactly.
So and then they'll learn about well, I call it my version of EFT.
Okay.
So again, it's the concepts, but let's see, how should I say this? The way that I understand it breaks through the barriers that people have. So our whole body works on electricity, right? This is happening because of electricity.
Right.
Well, it turns out when you tap on very specific spots where nerves come to the surface of the skin, it sends an electrical signal down that nerve. Kind of like when the doctor taps on your knee, he's checking for electrical, right? Your spine. And just like with the headache thing, that's why this is also beautiful. It's like the funnel effect. All these things came together. So when that happens, your brain is sending electrical signals. And if you're focused, let's say you got hit by a car and you're focused on the visual, the auditory, anything that you remember, right? Your brain knows where in your nervous system that electrical disturbance, they call it electrical perturbation that results from the trauma. Or I like to call it an electrical tumor. Yeah, the tumor right there is happening. So, but that's the thing. And in emergency medicine, if the heart in cardiac arrest, it's quivering like a bowl of jello. It's an electrical storm. What do we do to treat that? We shock it with electricity. This basically defibrillates that electrical perturbation and it disappears. That's why with a phobia, it doesn't come back unless they get re-traumatized.
Okay.
And almost every single phobia is because of a trauma from childhood. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Right.
Unbelievable. Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it, Bob. We could talk for hours about this. I'm serious. It's great.
Oh, yes.
So is there anything else you would like to share with us?
Yes. So I really got started tapping into intuition the hard way. So, because I was getting intuitive hits and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
So I go to a little church in Eagle Rock and people come from all over the world to hear the music. I mean, famous musicians play there. It's just incredible. And small parking lot. So they ask us that attend to park elsewhere. Go up to the parking lot at Target and I found a spot on Colorado Boulevard that was perfect. And I would park there. And then one Sunday I pulled in and I hear, don't park here. Well, no, I need to park here because I want to save spots for the visitors. Right? So I go in and I'm sitting in the second row behind the pastor and the music is going and usher hands a note to the pastor and he reads it. He says, hey, Bob, do you have a Lincoln town car with this license plate? Yeah. You don't anymore.
Oh.
Someone smashed into it, destroyed your car, and they don't have insurance.
Oh.
Now, could I be mad at God? God, how could you let this happen? Dude, I told you don't park here.
Right.
Right? And that was such a terrible, wonderful gift.
Yep.
Because then I started to pay attention. And especially if it didn't make sense, that's when you know it's a good intuitive hit. You might be driving somewhere and all of a sudden you get the thought, I should go the long way. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Then go that way. Who knows what that just saved you from?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And I get these intuitive hits to be at a certain place at a certain time to save somebody who would have died otherwise. Happens all the time. Yeah. In fact, people love to work with me as a partner on the fire department because I get like 4 times as many calls as anybody else. And hey, let's go to tunnel 3. Why? Trust me. Ooh, you getting a hit? Yes. And sure enough, I mean, it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just really be sensitive to that and go for it. Just test it out. Right? Like if it's taking the long way, what have you got to lose? A few more, minutes of time, maybe a little bit more gas, but maybe that saved your life.
Right.
And the more you pay attention and take action, the more you'll be sensitive to it and you'll get some wonderful hits, especially for those of you that are working in energy medicine.
Right.
And you're working on somebody. If you get a hit, I'm telling you, that's going to just dramatically increase your success rate with helping people.
Yeah. You gotta trust yourself, that the relationship of trusting yourself through that, that's as all of us as practitioners working on our intuition, Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. Wonderful, Bob. Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to share before we
Let-
hand that.
Well, I will say, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you a link that you can give to your folks to learn my version of the EFT tapping
Okay,
for free.
that sounds beautiful.
How about
I
that?
bet they're going to love it.
And if they don't, they get their money back.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. Free. Never mind. So,
That's
because
absolutely awesome.
it works for even physical problems. No,
Right.
oh, this is great. This is great. So I work as a motion picture set medic, and a woman's on the floor, curled up in a ball, 9 out of 10 pain with menstrual cramps.
Mm.
And she's, I have to take medication for it. This is the first time the medication hasn't worked. And she's, can you help me? I said, well, you can't take any more medication, but I have a technique. It's kind of out of the box. Anything, man, anything. So we just tapped on the physical pain, right, what she felt. And then I got a hit. Ooh, also tap on her concern about she's the head of her department. She's afraid she's going to get fired. Right?
Right.
And so we tapped on that. And I don't know, maybe 8 minutes at the most. And it was gone. She was up, felt like there was zero pain.
That's wonderful.
So this
Absolutely.
guy comes up to me, this Teamster, and he says, hey, medic. Well, my name is Bob Ross. Yeah, medic. He says, hey, does that voodoo stuff work on quitting smoking? And I said, well, that's not voodoo. He said, I don't believe it. I go, good. So don't have a cigarette. He was a chain smoker. I'd seen him. Don't have a cigarette. Wait till you really kill for somebody, kill for a cigarette and then come and see me. It wasn't 20 minutes and he was literally shaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did the tapping and just had him focus on the feeling in his body. Just the feeling in your body, what you feel in your body. Any thoughts that come up is fine too. But you just start with the body. And in 6 minutes, I handed him a cigarette. I don't want that. No, you want a cigarette? No, I want that. Wait a minute, I don't want that. So I sent him this. And so now when you get the cravings, you tap, and usually in 5 minutes, the cravings will be gone. And then what you'll notice, instead of a craving every 20 minutes, it's going to be every hour, in 4 hours, 8 hours, and pretty soon it's gone. So you can use it to quit smoking. It's just amazing.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
It is wonderful.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. It's been awesome.
It has indeed. Thank you.
You're welcome. My name is Kathy Milanowski. I'm an author. I'm a retreat leader. I'm a metaphysical teacher, and I specialize in Reiki training. You could check out my teachings and my retreats on www.wisconsinreiki.com. And on my YouTube, it's Kathy Milanowski. And thank you very much. Thank you, Tracy.
Beautiful. No, we can't hear you, Tracy.
We can't hear you, Tracy. She muted herself. Nope, not yet. It's okay. I get microphones like this all the time happening to me, Bob.
Hey,
When I first started.
People wish they could mute me at times, so that's all right.
Me too. No. Yeah, Bobby, I always could tell sometimes is if somebody's a teacher with healing, they're always a storyteller.
So,
I've noticed that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
All right. Well, thank you.